As we turn off the lights on 2020 and we turn on the lights on 2021, you've joined us here for the last Lightning Boys podcast of the year. It is episode 10. We are back after a very short hiatus, and man, you don't want to miss out on this episode. What's up, Slosh? How you doing?
I'm doing so great. That was, I think you really nailed it for the last podcast of the year. I think you truly nailed the intros. I think we did it. I think that's it. The best one of 2020.
No, it was fun. It was fun. I was thinking, I was like, I got a remote. What am I gonna do? Like, I can turn this on and I can turn it off, and like, we're here, we're doing it, we're live. Why not?
That was I'm okay, but yeah, I'm doing great though. Honestly, I'm doing great. I've had a pretty great past few days. Like, there was, we had the holidays. The kids they got spoiled this year. They really did get spoiled. Right before Christmas, my parents sent them a trampoline that I had to put together, which took 3 hours. I think it took me like 3.5 hours to put together this trampoline. It's like 15 feet or something. It's just massive. So they got that. Plus they each got their own new bed. They've been sleeping in converted cribs that just convert into like little tiny beds.
Right.
They got their own bed now. And all sorts of other stuff. They got spoiled. And I got a Mega Man game.
You got a Mega Man game?
I got a Mega Man game.
I got a Mega Man game. It's like 1997. God damn.
And even more important, I did get a 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids.
I saw you tweet about that.
It's next to me.
Are you pooping okay? Don't answer that question. We're live. You can't say it's one of those things you can't talk about on live television.
It's an ordeal. It's an ordeal, but it's a worthwhile ordeal because it's a 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids, and I will hit people if they say that Sour Patch Kids are not good.
They're delicious.
Thank you.
My mouth hurts already just thinking about it. Like it's a combination of that like sour, like salivating feeling you get when you imagine a sour flavor.
Right now.
My lord, that's
I've eaten
massive.
so many of them. I've eaten
it's
so
bigger
many
than
of
your
them.
Head. It's like 2 of your heads, bro.
Yeah, it's been 5 days.
Oh my god. It's like the sugar-free Haribo gummy bears.
Oh my
you ever
god,
see those reviews
dude.
on Amazon where it's like,
Dude.
I had these on the plane and I was constipated for 48 hours.
Yeah, there's that. Okay, yeah. Megan and I took a trip to the mountains like a few months ago, and I think that was right when like this kind of became like a meme again. And she was like, Josh, I need to read you this review. And it was a storyline. There was a character arc in there about diarrhea. It was absolutely wild. But yeah, okay. So we kind of already hopped into it. But how are your holidays, Toast? It's been a while since we talked. How are your holidays?
Oh, it's good. It's been a while. You're right. It's been a while, but they were great. I got jabbed up the nose like 4 or 5 times, extra safe to make sure that you can see family and all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's good. A lot of time with the nieces. They're walking and making sounds and being loud and adorable and whatever.
Oh. Are they a year old? They're a year old?
Older. They're 15 months at this point, I think.
Okay, yeah. That's just over a year.
Yeah. So they're getting there. And then family time and cooking and then, that sort of thing. Just a vacation. I haven't been working, and that's honestly, I think, been one of the best parts. Is like I slept until noon 2 days in a row.
Wow. Wow.
Haven't done that in a minute.
You wake up, you're like, I'm actually refreshed.
This is what it feels like. This is what real humans feel like all the time, because this is amazing.
So speaking of, like, I'm obviously also not working, right? We're on holidays, and because I'm not working, I have no idea what day of the week it is ever. I know for sure we're doing this a day early. Usually we record these on Thursdays, but we got New Year's, so we're doing it a bit early. But before that, when it was Sunday, I did like a quick stream. I could have sworn it was Monday. I was like, is it like? And I was like, no, maybe it's Friday. I had no idea. Literally no idea what day of the week it is at any given moment anymore. I also don't know what to do with my day. Like, because I've been working at home now, right? Like where I am currently, right?
Is also
This
your
has been
office.
this has been my office, yeah. And
Right.
this is also where I have fun. I play guitar. I got video games and stuff. And so like I don't ever know what to do with my time anymore. I sat and I just watched like Cody Co videos.
Oh my
I
God.
I found this guy that makes sausages on YouTube. He goes by Ordinary Sausage, and he does not make ordinary sausages. Today's episode, I think, was about making a Caesar salad sausage.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep, he made a McRib sausage.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll bite.
yeah. So that's what I've been doing. That I've been trying to find ways to fill my time other than jumping on a trampoline. Now that's been pretty cool.
Is that one of those big outdoor ones where you jump on and you just kind of live on it for a little while? Or is it...
Yeah. Like I said, it's like 15 feet wide, right? It's got a big net, and like my parents got one that has like a little basketball net and a tiny like foam basketball that you can play with, and then it's got like on the outside of it, it also has like a hacky sack like game. They gave you like 6 hacky sacks, 3 of each color, and there's like 6 holes that you got to throw them into. It's like a carnival out there now. We get like the cornhole thing set up, and it's got like a whole fucking situation out there now. Except it's been cold and rainy because I live in the South.
That's true.
So yeah,
That's true.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
That's wicked. That's wicked. Damn. Wow. But I get it. The like not knowing like what day of the week it is. Like I feel that so much. I'm like, what is it? The 29th? Is it the 30th? How many days are in December? Like what is happening?
Bro, the amount of days I thought it was New Year's Eve. I mean, like the past few days, I was like, today's New Year's, right? Is that
No,
today? And it's like
tomorrow.
The 27th. I'm like,
Today.
is that today?
Is that today? Is this February? Like
I had to double check. Before I sent you a DM, like mentioning that I was ready to go for this. I had to double check that it was not New Year's Eve. Also today, I've just
it could have been. It
It could have
genuinely
been.
it could have been. Every day this week could have been New Year's Eve.
yeah.
But each day that is New Year's Eve is another day closer to going back to work. And frankly, I will tell you right now, I'm not ready. I am not ready.
Speaking of New Year's, you ready for this segue?
Oh,
Let's
boy.
talk about resolutions. I mean, we have to. It's a New Year's stream. It's a New Year's podcast.
bet.
We got to talk about our resolutions. So, I mean, first off, do you remember what your resolution was for this year?
Hold on. I gotta. Here we go. Boom.
Oh, we got a thing?
I don't have a good thing for this one, so we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
one.
Whatever,
All right.
it works. It works.
It works. So I want to say that I do, but that would be a bald-faced lie. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was something about like self-improvement or self-betterment, or like I don't know, some bullshit like that. It usually is every year. That's like what I end up being like. This year I'm gonna learn a language. This year I'm going to like just be a better me. Like it's always
Right.
something like that, and like I'm good for like 10 days, and then I'm like, this is stupid. My life is happening.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
I
like
mean,
what it
whatever
is.
happens. Like, fuck it, whatever happens. Mine this year. I only remember one of them. I remember I made a few. I do try to make a few, because I actually started getting like, I started like taking them a little seriously a few years ago because it was always like, oh, I had one year I was like, I'm going to learn how to twerk, which I did.
Not that hard actually.
Yeah, I mean, I got 0 ass. It's just really my back continues on, and then I got legs now. But this year was to continue working out and like keep up on that, which became very hard to do. I actually was keeping up with it super well. I had bulked up real nicely, and then I was inside for 9 months. So I mean, I bought a pull-up bar a few months ago to help with that, but that was a tough one. Instead, I started writing more music. So
that's good. You're going from one thing to another outlet. That's totally cool. And you did just like write some music on stream the other day, which I went back and I listened to. It was pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
pretty
you.
dope.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been doing that lately. That's been that was a big thing for me. Was I have this. I don't know how many people are like this, but I have this thing where when I pick up a new hobby or I try a new skill, I immediately want to be great at it. And if I'm not great at it, I pretend that I'm great at it until that I am great at it. And I am very rarely am I right away very good at something. This is actually why it's so hard for me to get into other competitive games other than fighting games, because I'm already pretty decent in fighting games. I got a handle of
Right. That
fighting games. You know,
transfers.
I got, yeah, that transfers from fighting game to fighting game, right? Like you hit the guy, you don't get hit, you block, you dodge, whatever.
Easy, yeah.
But with instruments, I have never ever played a stringed instrument before. Not a single one. I've never played bass, harp. I don't know why that's the first stringed
Harp is
instrument I'm thinking of.
amazing. Very difficult.
I would love to play
Very
it, but
expensive.
yeah, it's what, like 24 strings or something. But yeah, I mean, I've never played guitar either, and so I bought one in August, and so like the beginning of August, so it's been 5 months, and so I was like, a way for me to trick my mind into saying that I'm good at this already is to write a record, and so I'm just recording a whole EP. I want to get like 5 songs. I already have like 3, 4 ish, like kind of going. I know, and it's been like 2 weeks.
That's awesome. That's so good. So
but yeah.
does this work? Does this play, you could say, into your New Year's resolution for 2021?
Yeah, so great segue. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
giving me that
Bro, I
line.
got you. It was like there on a platter. We're just gonna hand it off. It's great.
Yeah, my resolution for 2021 is actually to kind of do more with music than I've ever done, right? I want to get studio monitors. I want to get an electronic drum kit. I want to continue playing guitar, maybe get another one, maybe get like a pedal, something, you know, and just like keep on that, because I used to make a lot of music like 2010 to 2016. I know, such a huge nerd, right? And then all
EDM
through
nerd.
yeah, I was an EDM nerd, right? I was playing trombone in jazz band and orchestra, and then I was playing drums in metal bands, and then I was producing EDM, and that was my life for a very long time. And then I stopped. You know, I had kids, and more than the fact that I had kids, I stopped really making music because I realized I wasn't going to make a career out of it, and I was at that point in my life where I had to like start working towards a career. You know, like I was like, okay, I really like doing this, but yeah, it's not something I'm going to be able to do the rest of my life. And so that's when I leaned into video games, because like I actually could make a career out of this. I know I can do that. And I did. So, hooray. And so, but now look at me now. But I mean, now that I'm like stable in my career, I can kind of go back to some of my other hobbies. And that the first obvious one was music for me. And so I'm going to keep doing that for 2021. What about you though?
You know, I've been thinking about it since we decided to have this bit 5 minutes ago. And I haven't really given a lot of thought to it. And my first gut instinct, I think, was to go with to keep learning Spanish and to like really get good at it. But I think that's where my head went first, and then I went, oh, music, that's cool. Not like you have a degree in that or anything, Toast. Like I have a degree in that. It's right here, you know.
Oh, you actually have it right. Look at you.
Look, I have my degree. I have my fancy paper.
So next to me is a 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids, and next to you is your degree. I think that just says what kind of people we are.
It was an expensive piece of paper. I felt like I should keep it. Don't worry, the frame is broken and it's whatever. And then I thought, music is something I could really get back into, and that would be dope. And then I found myself catching that thought and saying, don't be dumb making a New Year's resolution. I honestly, I believe like we should just live our lives leaning into the things that we're into at the moment. And for me right now, I'm enjoying the process of cooking a lot. So I think
nice.
My, New Year's resolution, and by that I mean my like 1 month resolution before I get bored and go back to my old normal patterns, is just to kind of keep cooking. I got this really good book for Christmas called like Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. And it's just like, it's not like a cookbook with recipes. It's
That's a terrible name for a book, by the way.
Oh, it was good. It's a good book. It's really good.
I imagine, but it's a terrible name for.
It was like, these are the 4 elements. It's like earth, wind, fire, water. Yeah. Like these salt, heat, fat, and acid are the 4 like cooking elements that you need to like, defeat the Fire Nation and like, be the Avatar or whatever.
That's my favorite 80s band.
Oh my God. But yeah, so I think right now I'm feeling like I want to kind of vibe on this cooking thing I'm going along, like get better at cutting things. You ever see those videos of like the street vendors where they hold an onion and they have a sharp ass knife and they're holding the onion in the hand and they're like, and it's like the perfectly diced onion you've ever seen, and they have all 5 fingers still.
That's an important detail that they all have. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's an incredible video that everyone has seen except for you.
So I thought I knew where you're going with this because I've seen those like, it's like on Reddit or something. It's like 45-second video of like, this is the most amazing guy at flipping pancakes or something. And it's actually incredible. And you're like, oh, I didn't know you could be that good at flipping pancakes. Like it's all those like what seems like a pretty mundane cooking task, like chopping an onion. You're like, what the fuck? That's one of those. I thought I knew where you were going, but I've never
one of
seen
those.
that.
No, I just like, I like cooking. I like making food. Not for me. I like feeding other people.
Right.
That's how I just like vibe along with that. It's also really fucking expensive. When I like think about groceries, I'll go out for one meal and I'll spend like $40 on food for one meal. And then of course it'll feed like for a few days with leftovers, but then I'll be like, I'll think about it, be like, you're really like, you're spending money on food right now. I'm okay with it.
I mean, when it comes down to it, food is probably the best thing to spend money on, but also, so you mentioned also, like you don't really do New Year's resolutions, right? And you have like this, like yours is like this 1 month, this sort of thing. For me, I take a resolution. I don't really take it like seriously, but to me, it's like a story arc for the year. It's like, okay, so like, cause in like 2016 or something, my story arc was to get into esports seriously, which I did. And then 2017 was to turn it into a career, which almost had to wait until 2018. I had to wait until 2018 because of immigration, but oops. I had to move to a new country. But yeah, and so that's kind of how I've been treating these. It's a story arc instead of like a betterment. Like I mentioned like I've been taking them more seriously. That's really what I mean is like giving like a kind of a backbone to the year, something to fall back on to keep me focused.
No, totally, and I get that. I'm all for that. I feel like when we mark New Year's as like such sharp occasions, I feel like we're giving ourselves an excuse and a way out, actually. You say, I'll just wait until January 1st to start this, right? I'll just wait.
Right.
I'll just wait. And I feel like if you really want to do something, you just have to do it right away. Even if you're doing it poorly, you just got to get off your ass and you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at that. I make my own arbitrary deadlines all the time that I don't hit all the time.
Yeah, no, I am so okay. That's a lot of things you just said. I'm like so vibing with, right? Like 100%, right? Like, I've created excuses before, and that's why I finally that's why I'm doing this. That's why I started streaming the recording process, because I realized I hadn't played guitar in like 2-3 weeks or something. I was like, what are you doing? You wanted to do this. Like, you look at that shit, you wanted to do it, so do it. And so now, like, with me streaming it and kind of like, I'm bringing other people in that kind of are relying on me to do things, that really allows me and pushes me to kind of keep going without just like, I'll put it off, because I actually think I also mentioned this on Twitter, that I want to record this EP, have like my end done before we're out of quarantine, and we have the vaccine.
You got another year, like.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know how long that's gonna be is a thing, right? Like with the vaccine rolling out, but then also there's like a new strand in like Europe or some shit, right? Like I'm like, I don't know how long that's gonna be, and so that's kind of like such a like I don't really know the word for it, but like such a like in my head it's like a gelatinous kind of end date, you know what I mean? Like it's not a solid end date, and so I'm doing it really as fast and as much as I can to get it done, just in case I don't know, COVID ending sneaks up on me,
That's the world, like a sneaky COVID over, like.
Yeah, it's just like it just gives up. It's like, shit, it's been a year, I'm tired,
Oh, man, I'm fucking tired. Like, this has
But yeah, no.
been a year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's do a little bit of a retrospective of the year, because I mean, we talked a bit about our resolution for this year, and for like this year, I wanted to do more because I've been such a homebody, and I've been so focused on doing like serious stuff and like getting my career going that I really wanted to like take this year to do some more fun things and do some more like stuff that like me and my wife would just kind of enjoy doing instead of
yeah,
everything being focused on bills or everything being focused on this,
right.
like all the main shit, because we're lucky enough to have in like still an income stream this year, but we're lucky enough to have money set aside to where we can travel if we wanted to, and we
Right.
can make these big purchases. And so this year really was going to be the go out and do the shit, like the bucket list year, right? Like that was 2020
The
was our
bucket
bucket
list
list
year.
year. And I mean,
Unfortunate.
what one of my things was on my bucket list was to learn guitar, and so I started doing that. But another thing was to travel to Europe, which I was going to do twice this year, one for work and one for pleasure, which I've talked about before. It's obviously didn't happen, but
Yo, for real, the work thing, like, I was looking forward to going to Rotterdam, man.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
we had a few things lined up actually. Like I was probably gonna go to we were hoping to get in Brawlhalla, for those who don't know. We were hoping to have that offline event in Brazil too, right? For Brazil Games Week, which was mentioned.
would have been
And
wild.
that was another thing. I was like, I want to go. I don't really do esports anymore, but I would love to go to that. But like for me, I had a trip that was lined up to go to Paris to meet like the other half of my team. I work with teams in San Francisco and Paris, right? Those are kind of the two main, as well as obviously the one in Atlanta. And so I was going to go there to kind of like meet all of them and kind of team build and all that. And then,
So I'd like to pose this question then.
Yeah,
As a way to like succinctly have a retrospective here.
right.
Let's go with 3 highs and 3
Okay.
lows for the year.
Okay. Wow.
Um,
Do you want to start? Do you have things in mind?
I can start. I don't know if I
Okay.
have 6 items in total, but I think I have a couple in my head that I can hit big. I think
Okay.
moving in with my girlfriend was a pretty big high. That's pretty high up there in the list.
Nice. Nice.
It's been dope.
Congrats again, by the way. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah, it's lovely. I really like it. So that's been really good. I think, let's see, what else? Another high. I got promoted,
Hey,
which
hell
was
yeah.
nice, and I went from assistant manager to manager, and that's pretty dope.
That, I mean, besides the pay raise and all that, that looks really good on a resume.
It does,
Looks really
and
good on a
I'm
resume.
here for it. The resume looks nice now. I got that management experience on there now. Oh man, I don't want to like do it all with like work stuff, but like,
I mean, it's been hard to do personal things this year,
yeah,
And so when it comes to highs, like even for me, when it comes to highs, I'm thinking of the work stuff that happened this year, right? Like I did some really cool. I worked with some really really cool people this year, right? Like working with Cartoon Network again was really really cool.
so cool.
Working with Crystal Dynamics was really really cool.
Oh, that animation was amazing.
Oh, I know, right? That animation, the other animation that came out this year, like, and some things I can't talk about that are like shaping up really really cool. But so, I mean, working with all these really cool people, even like the people from the Walking Dead team, like I still am in contact with them, and there's been a lot of really really awesome people I've talked to. So I'll kind of lump that into one high is
Yeah.
the type of people, the types of people, and just the people in general that I've been really lucky to work with this year. When it like I said, like the Walking Dead people and Cartoon Network, all that, and Steel Series. There's one guy that I've been working with from Steel Series that's just such a nice dude, right? Like all those people, like I'll that's the high for work, right? Has been that, right? Personal highs, honestly, having like being able to not have to look at my bank account every time I go shopping
Bless.
this year.
That's lovely.
that's been a really huge high, and something that my wife and I have been talking about a lot, because when we moved, so I'm Canadian. She was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. And when we officially immigrated to the United States, we were very, very, very poor. I was working a contract job in esports that was paying, but not enough for a wife, 2 kids, and like a house. So, I mean, I lived with my best friend's mom, who was essentially my third mom, right? She is, shout outs to Miss Anita. She's probably one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, and has really, really helped us get on our feet there. But, you know, it was such a long stretch of years of moving back and forth between countries and having no money, that finally this year being like, getting like name brand stuff, you know, and again, like not having to like look at sales, not having to look at the bank account every time you need to go grocery shopping, has been really a big personal high for this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Something I've never ever experienced before. You know, like I grew up kind of poor. We've never had a lot of money, you know, and then, you know, I went from living, my parents finally were well off, and I moved out of being in a decently well off household to being absolutely dirt ass poor. It's been really cool. Really, really big high for this year.
That's awesome.
I know most of those are really amalgamous, but this not really a lot of like one moment situations happened this year where I was like, oh, whoa, you know. It's been kind of a lot of like little peaks throughout the year, and same with the lows, right? Like obviously a big low is not being able to do really anything, right? Like I haven't seen my family in a year and a half. I haven't seen my friends. I hadn't seen my friends for almost 2 years until I went to that wedding, which I was so anxious at that wedding. I had
as you should be.
I had that really, was it like an N57 mask on, the really
N95.
nice N95. I had an N95 mask on, and then so it didn't look bad because we were taking pictures and all that. I had one of those. I had on a black mask that had roses on it, so it was like kind of like a just a nice look to put on over top. I didn't eat there. Luckily, there were a few other people that were wearing. So I mean, the wedding was in the South, so there were not a lot of people wearing masks. The wedding took place outside, and the thing out of reception happened in a big hall. Right after that, there was like 30 people or something in this big hall. Again, way too many people. I did not like it. You know, it was my best friend. I had to go. I was the best man. He's the only person in the world I would have done that for. But yeah, so there were a few other people that were wearing masks too. So we went outside and had s'mores because no one else had touched the s'mores. So we felt comfortable taking off our masks and eating s'mores. And, you know, inside, all the plates and the utensils have been touched by a bunch of other people setting it down, and all the people, you know. And so, yeah, I was full of anxiety the whole time. But, you know, I looked great. My boy looked incredible. He had a great time. So, you know, whatever. So, I don't even know where I was going with that.
But... No, I get that. My sister got married this year, and we did it outside, just like a couple blocks away from her place along the riverside, and everyone was wearing masks. It was so windy, and there were 5 of us total. It was her husband, myself, her husband's one of her husband's brother. What month is
this, by the way? Because this is in the north, right?
July, I think. I think this was July.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
And then one of her friends officiated the thing. It was like let's just do the official thing. And then they signed a thing that was like, when this is all over, we'll throw a proper party.
Right, right.
And I was only there to take pictures. That hey. No contact, nothing else. So it was like 6 feet apart the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I think a photographer is the easiest job to keep 6 feet away from everybody. Because you're like, I'll just be back here. And you know what? Problem. We'll get some good pictures, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. Really, when it comes to Lowe's, that's what we were talking about. When it comes to Lowe's for this year, it really is just a lot of missed opportunities. Kind of as one low, it's just the whole year is just a big missed opportunity. Not seeing family, not seeing friends. That's where we were to bring it all back.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I've been very very fortunate this year. Really, compared to everybody, I was able to donate. I've donated a bunch to charity this year, which has been
Awesome.
an all-time want of mine to have enough money to be able to just like donate to charity. Like we always say, like $1, $5, it helps, right? And it does. But for me, I always wanted like donate like a couple $100s to charity. And I was finally able to do that this year. So that's been awesome. That's been super awesome.
It's a
Donated a
great
few
feeling.
times to NAACP, and a few other
The
of
Bail
those.
Project, probably. Yeah.
I did a bunch of those. And then St. Jude's is my wife's like favorite charity because they're a Memphis hospital that helps kids, right?
Nice.
So we donated to them.
It's
I've been
great.
very fortunate, and so I've been trying to kind of pass it along because not everyone has been very fortunate this year.
No, that's lovely. In that same vein, every year we do, myself and a family friend, we do Toys for Tots, and we just
Right.
this year
I used to do that too.
we rolled up to Costco, and we were just like throw stuff in the cart, and we just rolled
Yeah.
through. We got gloves, we got sweaters, we got toys, and we just kind of like whatever. We just threw it in there, and then we divvied up and just went halves on it, and then donate. It's great. It's like I feel like if there's any year to do it, this is the year
this
where
is the
people need
year.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely want to donate again soon. I'm just kind of like shopping around, I was like, okay, I've donated to here, what am I missing? I'm probably going to donate to an LGBT youth fund, one of those. That's kind of the next step, I think, for me, as well as an immigration charity.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I've dealt with immigration. I know how hard it is, and I'm very fortunate that I came from where I came from, which is really sad that that's how that works with immigration. So I'm gonna donate to that because not to really get into it because I really don't want to right now. But there's a whole lot of bullshit that's happening. So probably one of the next few steps is donating to one of those charities.
Yeah, I feel like if you can't be on the front lines doing the work on the front lines, at least, everyone has a part they can play.
Right.
As long as you're doing something that is legitimate, I think that's good. Which I think giving money is totally legitimate.
Like I said, like I'm definitely not rich, but I am fortunate to have like spending money, and so
yeah,
instead of just like buying shit for myself, I'm like, don't.
I used to work for a small nonprofit. It was a
Nice.
symphony, but like, the amount that like even a $200 donation, like the difference that makes is like legit for those smaller nonprofits. I mean, the ones we talked about are pretty huge, but like for the smaller, but even for them, like every bit counts,
Oh yeah, yeah. There's oh my goodness. There was what was that one that was like it was a really really small nonprofit, and then something happened in the middle of the year. It was and they just like immediately had more money than they've ever like thought about. Obviously it was around the racial injustice, right?
I know.
Which one
I
was
remember
that
what you're
one?
talking about. I don't remember its name, but they got a lot of criticism for not like mobilizing the money quickly enough. But the thing is, like, crazy is with nonprofits is like they only have the capacity to like funnel so much money through because they
Right.
only have like the operational
And when you're used to
potential for
getting
that.
like 1,000 a month or something, and suddenly you come into millions,
Millions
for
of
your
dollars.
nonprofit, you're like, oh God, what do we do
do
with
we
this
do?
money? Which yeah, I think it was actually, yeah, okay, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, I think, is
That
the
was
one
it.
that it is.
That was
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yep.
Shout outs to Sora. Yeah, the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Yeah. Also shout outs to them, obviously, right? Like, wow, yeah, again, has not been a very good year. You know what? I'll put that as another low. Here's a fun thing that I think I've mentioned before. I don't know if I've mentioned on the podcast, but I was gonna go to some of the protests in Atlanta, and the day I was gonna go, Megan double checked if I was able to because of immigration. It turns out no. If I had gotten caught
Arrested.
at a protest, I would have been deported because I'm an immigrant,
Love this
and you're
country.
not
Love this
allowed.
country.
Yeah, you're not allowed as an immigrant to go to peaceful protest or any other kind of like against the government type thing because I'm still technically a visitor here, I guess. But yeah, so I couldn't go. So that was a kind of a big low for me, is not being able to go to any of the protests.
They did the classic like quarter on a string trick. They're like, this quarter is yours. Yoink, never mind.
Nope.
Like, oh man, that's the worst.
Oh, I was so ready. I was like, we were looking up, like, it was just when the pepper spraying was kind of getting bad. So it was like really early on in the protests, right? And I was like, okay, how do I deal with pepper spray? I was like looking up these sorts of things, and all that shit, right? And then Megan was like, no, don't go because you'll be deported. I'm like, oh, what? I forgot they told me this. They told me this when I was immigrating, and I forgot. Because at the time I was like, I'm not going to go to a protest. What the hell are you talking about? And then, this shit. And I'm like,
now
I'm going to go to a protest. What are you talking? Of course I'm going.
Oh, good God. Yeah. I mean, there were some real bullshit things that happened over the summer that, obviously being one of them. I think to bring it back on like a more like personal level, I think definitely a low point, I think has to be like, it's like a mixed low and high, was landing in Florida, in Orlando in March.
Oh yeah.
Sitting at the bar with a drink with V and David at 2 a.m. checking our phones and seeing a tweet from the Brawlhalla account saying, yo, we're canceling this. Stay safe.
Yeah, that was like on like, God, was that like the 12th or something?
It was the 12th. I think it was the 12th. It was the 11th or the 12th of March.
Yeah, so, wow, I can't believe, of course I remember that date. Thursday the 12th.
Yep, that sounds about right.
In March, yeah, it was like the week after I was out of work. I think the 17th was the big day that everyone was kind of gone. I'm simultaneously surprised and not surprised that I remember those dates. But yeah, that was... What a wild time. And
I have to say, actually being in Orlando was this mix between like having an amazing time hanging out with friends and like being scared for my life.
Yeah, was there like a because the last thing I went to was in February, kind of like right as it was like, is this gonna be bad? For PAX. And there wasn't really a sense of like impending doom or dread or anything. It was just like, I stopped biting my fingernails,
Right. I mean, I was there.
Washed my hands more.
Yeah. We went out to dinner. It was like it felt totally normal. Like PAX felt like no wrong issues at all. Too many people in that hall. Like,
yeah. So did you have a sense
being
of
gamers?
Did you have a sense of like impending doom or dread when you were in Orlando, since it was like
yes, because that was when everything started shutting down, right? So that Thursday and Friday, my work shut down, and they were like, everyone's working from home now. And then Monday it was like, we're in this for an indeterminate amount of time, and I came back and everyone was like, what the fuck is happening? And it really was like like it's crystal clear in my mind, like sitting outside that bar at that like table with my buddies at 2 a.m. and seeing that tweet and being like, oh shit, like things are hitting the fan. And I remember being on Reddit and being like, oh, this could be a big deal. Never expecting anything like this.
Oh man, speaking of, I come back to this conversation in my head a lot that I had with a coworker, Scott. Super awesome dude. He kept trying to, his like dream trip was to go to Japan, right? And he kept having issues going to Japan. Something kind of kept coming up, right? I think everyone knows where this is going, but the first trip got caught off because either I think it was the earthquakes were happening, or it was the storms that were happening. It was one of those in 2019. And so they had to cancel the trip, right? I think they just kind of stayed in San Francisco because that was their like, I haven't been on a plane in so long. They're connecting flight with San Francisco. And so they just kind of hung out in San Francisco for a bit, him and his wife. And then they were going to go again at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. I don't quite remember. And that was right as COVID was getting bad in Japan. And so, he goes there. Well, him and his wife go there, and they're only there for 2 days before they head back home. And he comes back to work like 2 weeks after, because he self-quarantined because, again, COVID was just getting bad. So this probably was like January. And then when he comes back to work, he was like, this is the conversation that I keep playing in my head. Is his first day back from work. And he's like, his desk is right next to me. Me and Scott were right next to each other. So he just turns, like, we just are chatting, right? We were talking about something work, and then he comes to this, and he's just like, this is going to be a lot worse than anyone thinks. And I'm like, no way, dude. Honestly, like, it's in Asia. Maybe it'll get to Europe, but, I don't see really much happening here, especially in around us. Maybe it'll get bad. Maybe we'll see it in Atlanta. I think I'm giving myself right now too much credit. I was really downplaying it, like, big time. I think honestly, what I said was, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal at all. I really don't see this. I think people are blowing out of proportion, is what I said. I think it'll be bad in Asia, but I think it's being blown out of proportion. He was like, no, man, you didn't see it. It's gonna be really bad. This is gonna be life changing. And I keep playing that back, and I'm like, I was kind of taking him as a bit of a conspiracy theorist a little bit there, right? Not to say any good things about conspiracy theories. Most of them are bullshit. But this one time,
not bullshit.
It was really not. He really so called it. He was telling everybody to, like, really just start preparing for us to start working from home. This is going to be a lot bigger than anyone thinks. And I remember this would have been like mid to late February, right? So it really was as things started ramping up, and as it kept ramping up, every time around lunchtime, it would obviously come up because that was a big talking point. And he would always say, like, it's going to get here and it's going to get bad and we're going to have to work from home. And every time I'm like, no fucking way. And then, like, first week of March, I'm like, I think I apologized to Scott. I was like, bro, you were so right. you were so right. I was like, this is getting wild, And then, like a week later, our boss is like, prepared to work from home next week. And then next week, that 12th of March, I remember, like, Doomsday. there was a bunch of people at work when everyone flew off, either that Wednesday on the 11th or on the 12th. A bunch of people were like, they should not have left. Why did they get on that plane? And then and then we canceled.
And then the call was made. Yep.
And then the call was made. Yeah. But
crystal clear moment.
Yeah, that was a really strange time. I was downplaying, and then I apologized. I have actually apologized to him again, like, a few months later. I'm like, I keep thinking about that, man. I'm so sorry. I, like, didn't listen to you at all. This is wild. And that was it was shout out Scott. He really knew what he was talking about. I really hope you get that trip to Japan sometime, man. Really hope you get that trip to Japan, man.
Honestly, I think that we're on the up and up a little bit. It's hard not to be hopeful with 2021 with no politics, but with a new politician in place. And with a vaccine rolling out, and, like, I don't know, I feel hopeful that things are going well. Or are going better or getting better. The scary thing is seeing what the bump is going to be like in 3 weeks. The, like, Christmas, New Year's bump.
Yeah, that's what because you mentioned, kind of bring it back. You mentioned that you went and, you got tested and you went to see family. I did not, right? Like, my wife's family, her side is in Memphis, which is 6 hours away. And my family's in Canada, which I'm definitely not flying or driving over the border right now. So I didn't go anywhere. No one came over. We just tried to give the girls a good time.
Yeah. Well, my family's, I'm lucky enough to have everyone within 30 minutes. And it's just like my sister and the girls are in a pod with my parents, right? Because my parents are the daycare, right? The grandparents are for daycare. Right. And I'm not in that pod because I've been going, not lately, but I work in the office, right? Since August, I've been going back into the building for my job.
That's wild.
With kids in the building for most of that time too. Like, my my boss has gotten COVID or has been close contacts with COVID. Like I know people in the office who are close contacts with. There's just been like a lot of that, and so like we've been working from home, but so I've been out of the bubble. So if I want to enter the bubble, I have to like request to work from home for a few days, get tested, and then wait.
Man, good for your family for being like, we have a thing. If you want in on this, you better be good.
Oh,
you better be a good boy.
I talk about it all the time, but like, I mean, I'm glad they do that. I'd be mad if I had been mad at them, for if they weren't being careful. I also think that like people's level of comfort is whether or not you agree with it. I think the onus is on the person who is, less safe to meet the person who is more safe where they're at, because it feels like just like you can't be like, oh, I don't believe in it, so I'm going to endanger you. Like that's a wrong, right? I like morally, I feel like we should just meet people who are more paranoid and more safe about this than the other way around. And so like,
oh yeah. Yeah.
If my family's like, you need to quarantine 14 days to see us, I'd be like, okay. Like
yeah, that's why it. Like when I went to that wedding, that's why I had a better mask than usual, and I didn't take it off at all because I was from out of state, and I was going to be meeting I was going to be coming in contact with some other people that are also from other states, right? And luckily those people also wore masks. All the people that like came in from out of state wore masks, right? Mm-hmm. One, she, bless her heart, and I say that in the least southern way possible, she came in from Seattle, Washington, and so she had to fly, and she didn't want to do it at all, but she, it's her brother, she had to, right? Right. But she wore a mask the whole time. She was so safe. She actually is the one that gave me the that gave me the N97, wherever the hell it was.
N95.
N95. Why could I not ever remember? But yes, I agree. Keep wearing your mask, y'all. I'm done working from home. There are people that have gotten hired at my office that I haven't met yet. I don't know what they look like. All right, I want to meet these people. Why is this is really tight? Why is the Zoom so tight?
I just felt like doing it. It felt like the right time to do that. No, I get it. Yeah, it's real. This shit is real, but hopefully it's getting better. And that's really like going into 2021. I think all I really want is one, like people to get their heads out of their asses and start treating humans like real humans and not stop being selfish for once in their goddamn lives. And for us to be able to be safe again. And when you think about vaccines too, I'm going to go a little bit here, right? Like 95%, like is unheard of. Like the flu vaccine is like what, 40% effective, 50% effective. And like, that's enough. Mm-hmm. So, I do think that like once this shit starts rolling out, and it is rolling out, we're going to be just in a much better place. And I'm never going to be inside my home ever again. Like come July, bro, I'm going to be out there.
All right. Great segue, because I saw a tweet from shout out to Metagame Mike, from Mike. He said like, when this is all over, I am never going half-ass on like a party or a celebration ever again. And he's like, all the obscure holidays, we're going in on that shit, right? So I pose you this question to kind of, we're coming kind of near the end of the stream, so I'm going to pour another drink because it's New Year's, but also pose you this question here.
Okay.
What is the first thing that you are doing once it is deemed, like there's this magical day, everything is deemed safe? What's the first thing you're doing besides just like cheering?
That's a really good question. I don't think I'm going to go outside without wearing a mask for a while. I feel like I'll probably start wearing an N95, but like the cloth ones I have are like fashionable. They got cool designs. They're like handmade, like whatever. Mm-hmm. I think I'm
the same way.
I want to, I don't know. Like, I think I want to go dancing.
Nice, dude. Okay. So for me, because I was thinking about it, I posed the question to you because I wanted to think about it a little bit. Dancing is kind of in a similar vein. For me, I probably would just like go out to a bar with my boys. There was something that I was doing I was finally kind of getting out a little bit more. Me and a few of the work boys that became more than work boys. Right, we're good friends now.
Of course, of course.
We would actually go out and we would because we would go out to bars and restaurants and things like that. And so I think once it's fucking good to go, I'm probably gonna keep wearing the mask. Right, I've seen the simulations of how disgusting people are, and I'm like, well, COVID or not, that's gross as hell. So I'm probably gonna keep wearing the mask. But yeah, I'll probably just take me and the boys out and go somewhere. And probably bring Megan along too. I don't know what we're gonna do with the girls. They'll go to school and we'll middle of the day go day drinking or some shit. I don't know.
God bless. Yeah, I think
because the girls definitely are going to school right now.
It's going to be this weird mixture, I think, of people who are too scared still to go and do things and people who are just ripe to go and shred harder than they ever did in college when they were making the mistakes they needed to make. And, and it's going to be this weird mixture of the bars will be popping, but some people won't be there,
Yeah. No, exactly, man. Right. That's why, it's gonna be weird, honestly. I'm excited for the day I get to go back to work and see everybody again. What a strange thing to think about, right? It's gonna feel like my first day again. Because the first day I showed up, it was my dream job to work at Blue Mammoth Games, and I feel like it's gonna feel a lot like my first day again. Going in and seeing everyone, and again seeing all these people. We've hired all sorts of new people this year, right? I'm going to meet a bunch of new people. It's going to be so cool, Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's nice. Going back to the office, as scary as it was and as effed up as I think it still is, it was nice. Seeing the people was nice. Yeah. Seeing my team was what up? It was good.
Yeah.
It feels good.
I mean, that's kind of in the same vein of why I'm it would be nice to go to a restaurant, go to a bar with the boys, just something like that, just really just be with the people
indoor dining because safely indoor dining. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Because I love the hell out of my wife. I'm so lucky to be able to live with my best friend, right? But I do also want to see other people, and not see other people, I just want to be in the proximity of another human being again. I said this is gonna end on a high note, but hell, yeah, no, it's gonna be great. We're finally we'll take our trip to Ireland. It'll all be great, and this will be something that we look back upon and try to forget.
Yeah, bro. Well, it's 10:53, man.
Yeah.
You tell me. Do people need to worry about the Lightning Boys going away anytime soon?
No. So I'm glad you also bring that up, because this was another thing that I really wanted to do this year, this podcast. And we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing the podcast, right? We took 2 weeks off because I had to go to that wedding, and then it was Christmas, right? So obviously we took those off.
I have a computer that's exploding, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, your computer was messing up too.
Still going.
But yeah, this has been something that I've been really enjoying, and I'm really glad that we're doing this. This has been really fun to do this with you, Toast. Hell yeah.
Right back at you.
It's been 10 episodes, and honestly, it's just been fun. I look forward to the days we do the podcast, right?
Same.
I put the girls to bed. I kind of prep myself, what am I going to talk about? I double check, what shirt am I putting on? I actively thought this morning, I was if I put a shirt on this morning, this is the one I'm going to wear for the podcast. And so this is the one that I put on. I was this is a nice shirt, it's I really like doing this. And I'm glad that we're going to keep doing it. This has been great.
I love it. I'm here for it. So I'm glad to hear that. We're keeping it going. We're keeping the dream going in 2021. It's going to be even better. We'll be bringing on a whole host, round, square, octagonal table of guests.
Yeah. I really can't wait to have on some guests, right? We asked, I mean, there are some people that have reached out that want to be guests on, and I can't wait to have them on. It's been holidays, right? It's really weren't. I wasn't gonna
Weird
start
and-
asking people to come on
We're
around the
like, dude,
holidays.
it's a
but-
Wednesday. It's not a Thursday. What?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we started on time today. Like, what is that? Like,
Oh, and a fun thing. I don't know if we've ever shared this on the podcast, but how this all started. You stream very irregularly, and by that I mean
do.
like
Never.
once every like 3, 4, 5 months, right? Like just kind of randomly. And I just hopped in on on the stream that you just happened to be doing, and you mentioned, that you would love to do some overproduced podcast. You thought it'd be really fun. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, for real?
oh,
Oh, for real?
oh.
And I think I said that in your chat. I was like, for real?
I was like,
just
yes.
DM me.
I was like, absolutely.
Then like we
Here
took
we
2
are.
weeks to kind of like plan it. I made the graphics and
Boom, done.
that was
Like,
it. That's how this all came together. Just because you're like, oh, sure, that'd be cool. Yeah, though, like, but yeah, so we mentioned some guests, right? Like we have a few of the other Lightning boys we want to throw on, like Double Dime. I want to bring. I've had a few other guests on my regular streams I'd like to have on.
Mhm.
I don't want to keep it all like I want to kind of expand out of the Brawlhalla sphere a little bit,
I
right?
agree.
My friend Sarah, my sister Danielle.
Bring them all on.
I think they would be. My sister is so fucking funny. She is funnier than me, and she doesn't think so. That girl, super awesome. I think she'd be a blast to have on the podcast. I'd love to
Let's
have
do
her
it.
on. Her boyfriend Aldrin. It's so funny. Like I'll be playing like Jackbox or some shit with Danielle. And Aldrin plays Dota. Her boyfriend Aldrin. And you could like hear him in the background like getting heated playing Dota like every time. Like we've heard, like I've done streams with her and you can hear him in the background like and like
oh my god.
he speaks 2 different languages, and so sometimes I understand what he's saying and sometimes it just sounds like he's upset in another language. I'm like, what is going on over there? But what about you? Who would you want to bring on? Who would you want to bring on?
Bro, I don't know. Reach into my contacts. I don't have my bucket list with me, so I actually don't know. But you named a few of the people I would be interested in, namely Double Diamond and some of the other Lightning boys. But
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
figure that out. We'll figure that
All right,
out.
so then to kind of end the podcast off, I know we skipped the game today. We really just wanted to chat about the year.
Yeah.
But to end it, who would your dream guest on the podcast be? Like really, if you could have anybody alive, like an actual alive person
Mhm.
you would have on, who would it be?
You know, I would love to bring on. Oh, it's such an interesting question.
Yeah, because this to allow you to think a little bit. I'll fill. Because I want to keep kind of building this up as we move forward into, like, I want to do more things with this and build the channel a little bit and all that sort of stuff. So who knows? Maybe in a few years we get your dream guest on. But
You know,
It
I'd love.
looks like you thought
I'd
of someone.
love to bring on someone like Jacob Collier, who I feel like could
Oh
just
my
like say
God.
smart things in an English accent, and like I could be like, oh wow,
like,
and
"Oh,
inside I'd
yes,
be like, oh, you're
Jacob."
so dreamy.
Oh God, Jacob, please just keep talking. What an incredible musician! That dude is
That dude is
bonkers
nuts.
smart.
I can't. I don't. I just like.
So
my brain's not big
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, so I'm
Google
kind
him.
of Jacob Collier, for those who don't, you kind of have to go a little bit he's a musician's musician, for sure, but you have to go a little bit deep into like the musician sphere on YouTube until you really start hearing about him. But this guy is doing the most interesting shit with music, and not just like jazz stuff. He's also like covering pop songs.
It's like
and-
whatever. He just does whatever.
Guys,
He's in
he's
a
just-
bucket of his own.
It's really, I've literally never heard another musician like Jacob Collier.
That's
And when I say
incredible.
a musician's musician, really what I mean, he's like a musician's musician. Like he's like he makes good music, but at the same time, like when you're like, ooh, that was spicy.
But he also has an incredible ability to like boil it down to be very accessible to like a common audience who doesn't know anything about it, which I think is really
Yeah.
cool. Like that's a tough skill, and I like, I don't know, it's cool. What about you,
Yeah.
Slosh? Dream guest.
For me, it would probably be someone that I would that I would make my wife freak out about, right? Like, so to
sure.
kind of brag about myself a little bit. I've done a little bit of work, which was an absolute dream for me last year, with John DiMaggio, the voice of Bender, and Jake the dog. I got to we put out an Adventure Time
That's
X
awesome.
Brawlhalla crossover, and so with the trailer we had voiceover, and so I sat in and helped give direction for the voiceover for those trailers, which included John DiMaggio. It was an absolute dream come true, right? And so I am the first person that comes to my head that I would simultaneously lose my mind over and also be able to be like, yo, Megan, would be Gordon Ramsay. I don't know why he's the one I keep coming to, but like if Gordon Ramsay were to be on this fucking podcast, dude,
Gordon.
it would be the craziest shit ever, right? And yeah, so that's why I'm like, it would be someone that I would brag to Megan about, right? Because like I told her about John DiMaggio and she was like, oh my god, that's so cool. I'm so happy for you, right? Because he's my he's because he's my favorite voice actor, right? Because my favorite animated show of all time for the longest time was Futurama. And yeah, so yeah, Gordon Ramsay. Final answer. Going with my gut.
Love it.
Gordon Ramsay.
Love it.
Gordon Ramsay. My DMs are open on Twitter. I follow you, so just follow me back. We'll be able to get a conversation going. I'll be able to get you on. Yeah, just follow me. Just follow me on Twitter, Gordon. We're on a first name basis already, Gordon. Just follow me back, and I'll just DM me, let me know a time that you're good with, and we'll work around you. It doesn't have to be a Thursday.
God.
I know you're in the UK.
My.
You're in the UK, so we could do a bit of an earlier cast. It'll be no problem, So Gordon, again, man, I know you're itching to be on. I know you're one of our viewers. I know you use a different name online, so people don't know it's you, but. Yeah, just send me a DM.
All right, I'm going to forcefully interrupt this bit. Folks, thank you so much for 10 episodes of the Lightning Boys podcast. We will be returning in 2021, so please join us all in saying good night to 2020 and saying good morning to 2021. Have a happy new year, everyone, and join us next Thursday for the Lightning Boys podcast.
Yeah, thank you all for the past few episodes, for joining us on our kind of first run of the podcast. And yeah, you couldn't have said it. I probably could not have said it better. So it's with this fucking lighting. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Really. We'll see you in 2021.